been thinking a lot about risk and return, and because I really think, I think we've entered a period where we were not getting paid for the risk we were taking, and so I'm thinking about this, and I'm also trying to think how we can capitalize on it, and it really comes down to, are you getting paid commensurate with the risks you're taking? And there's a lot of things that go into this. I put treasury rates like cost of funds, knowledge, experience, and it flows through my other slides: demographics, geopolitical, inflation. But really the biggest issue with risk return is execution. How much work is there to get to that other side? How much time, energy, knowledge, market conditions, so that you can adequately get paid. And so I broke it into start at the top, Toro's at the bottom. Things that really affect the client is the product, right? Is this a single tenant retail triple net lease deal? What's the execution? Is it construction? Is it value add? Is it entitlement? What's involved? What's the market and what are the market conditions? And then what's capital? Is capital available? And going back to the prior slide, what's their knowledge about all this? Do they have experience? They're putting the right team together so that they're getting paid. The next real piece of it is is the capital. If they have 100% of their own money, execution's pretty easy, but they're putting a lot of money at risk. And so on the capital side, how are they funded? Is it a bank funded by deposits? Is it a leveraged debt fund that is funded by pension funds, or is it funded by mom and pop thing? Conversely, what's their cost of funds? If it's all deposits, it's very low. If it's all hedge funds, it's going to be fairly high. The biggest thing I worry about, and which has kind of caught our business, is tenor matching. Real estate is generally a long-term asset, and when things get frothy, capital providers basically fund it with short-term cut funds. Reason CMBS has defeasance is that they match funded, and that's one reason CMBS can be one of the lowest cost of funds. If GE Capital got caught because we were using GE commercial AAA paper to fund real estate obligations, and the paper market crashed in 2008. We only could get the government to buy GE paper. There were no investors there. Interest rate variability, we see that a lot. Do they want a cap? Are they funded floating? Or are they matching? And then just governance. There's a big difference in governance between a credit union, a bank, and a private debt fund. How flexible they are, and all these things we have to look at execution really on the client. You know, what's, you know, capital, the money that's going to pay for that execution, you know, what's affecting it in terms of risk return. And then really, you know, how does it get to us? You know, we should be looking at, you know, as we prospect, you know, what's the best use of our time to get the best results in terms of identifying prospects. And it doesn't have to be the same for everybody. Some people are incredibly effective on just phone cold calling. Some people are incredibly effective at working conferences. Some people are incredibly effective of, you know, email, texting, or, you know, other social media. It's like, you know, what efforts are going to give you the highest, you know, the highest returns? I'm not going to dwell on exclusive versus non-exclusive, but, you know, the risk on a non-exclusive deal is a lot lower.
A lot higher.
A lot higher on a non-exclusive deal than an exclusive deal. You know, something we deal with all the time is, you know, what are the execution risks of that transaction? You know, how can you communicate it to capital so that you're not wasting time? Process is, are we staying on top of the deal? Are we anticipating what the next step is and what the objections are going to be? Or, you know, client management, you know, are you setting clients' expectations on what we're doing? And then when should we cut a client loose? Because we're not, you know, we may be closing deals with them, but it may be taking you, you know, maybe closing a bunch of small deals with them, but it might be taking you out of the market. And, you know, they're not delivering either. And they may not be financeable. I mean, Avalon's a perfect, you know, case of that. Close deals with them, stuff's going on, you know, we shouldn't be dealing with it.
Spent a lot of time on deals that we couldn't close on.
Right. And then capital provider management is, you know, are we managing the process? You know, it's part of the process, but it's, you know, setting expectations. Because when we're out of equilibrium on the risk return, I mean, that's where most losses happen. Is that, you know, you're taking too high of a risk and you're not getting paid for it. And so that's just something I've been thinking about. I'd like everyone to, you know, purposely think about, you know, are you spending your time, you know, properly with the right clients, taking to the best capital providers? And then are you managing, you know, once you have them, you know, a lot of times we get engaged and throw it out to the market. And we do our thing here, throw it out to the market, you know, are you managing that risk? You know, because ultimately, you know, the number of deals we close to the number, you know, number and the revenue of what we close to the number of hours we spend, you know, we want to maximize that at all times. That's probably more than 2 minutes, but I think about this every day. And so, you know, happy to answer any questions. And, you know, if you're questioning, if you're this risk return, you know, talk to Steve or I. You know, we're, you know, pretty good. I mean, both sessions are great for this in terms of, you know, I got this deal on this client, but I'm not sure. I don't see the clear path. You know, let's talk through it. It's my 2 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you, Scott.